Hello, welcome to this interview question and answer series video. I'm going to try and keep this introduction short so we can focus on the more important stuff. Today's video is about the interview question, tell me about a time when you've challenged the usual way of doing things. This is a super popular question that's looking to see if you're someone who is happy with the status quo or if you are someone who strives for positive change in the workplace. We're going to be looking at common pitfalls to avoid when answering this question, how to pick the perfect example to use in your answer. Plus, we are going to walk through a real example answer that you can tailor to your needs. First up, though, we are going to look at the best way to structure your answer. If you aren't bothered about any of this and just want to see the example answer, then there's a timestamp link to be found in the description notes. Also in the description notes is a link to an article on this topic should you wish to read instead of listening to my voice. Other than that, let's crack on. Now let's begin with answer structure. These type of questions, often called competency-based questions, are all about sharing your experience with the interviewer. The interviewer wants to hear what you did, how you did it, and maybe most important of all, why you did it. In order to achieve this, your answer needs to be well structured. You need to ensure that you hit all the key points that you want the interviewer to hear in a logical order, while also avoiding the urge to ramble on. The best way to pull this off is by using the B-star method. Using this technique, you will split your answer into 5 individual parts. The first is the B, which stands for belief. You want to begin your response by sharing your thoughts and feelings regarding the subject matter. This helps set the stage for your answer and demonstrate your personal connection to the topic. If this doesn't make much sense to you, don't worry, there will be an example answer using this structure later in this video. Next up, we have S for situation. Briefly describe the context or background of the scenario in which your actions took place. This provides the interviewer with an understanding of the circumstances surrounding your experience. Remember, it's essential to keep this part concise, as the primary focus should be on your actions and the results. Just give the interviewer the quick who, what, where, when, and why. Following the situation, we have T for task. Explain your specific role and responsibilities in the situation. By doing this, you highlight what you were entrusted with in your previous roles and also lets the interviewer understand what expectations were made of you within the situation at hand. Up next, we have the most important section, and that is A for action, or activity if you prefer. Describe the steps you took to achieve the desired outcome and explain the rationale behind your actions. This part of your answer should be the most detailed, as it illustrates your problem-solving abilities, relevant skills, and adaptability in handling challenges. And finally, we have R for the results. Conclude your response with the results of your actions, using figures or quantifiable outcomes whenever possible. This will demonstrate to the interviewer the impact of your efforts and your ability to deliver tangible results in your role. This is also where you could share any lessons you learned from the experience. So now we know what the interviewer is looking for when asking this question, and we know how we're going to structure our answer. The only thing left is to pick an example from our experiences and build out our ideal answer. But hey, before we start building out our masterpiece, let's talk about some of the interview no-nos that you're going to want to avoid. Number 1, don't reject the premise of the question. In this example here, the candidate has effectively said that they have never challenged the usual way of doing things. Sure, there are roles where this would be a good answer. Some companies just need people to clock in, work to the letter, and clock out again. But guess what? Those companies are not going to ask this question. This leads us directly into the second thing you should not do when answering this question, which is to give a vague or generic answer. The question includes the phrase, tell me about the time. This means that interviewers want to hear specific examples. Avoid providing a response that isn't based on an actual experience or one that lacks detail and doesn't showcase your own actions. And third and finally, at first glance, you might think this is a reasonable answer as it paints you as the unappreciated hard worker that is always looking to improve things. If only management could see your potential. But what this actually tells interviewers is that your previous employers simply did not like your ideas. While the truth may be that your previous employers could have listened to your ideas and maybe they would have produced great benefits for the organization, but this answer is not telling the interviewer that. This answer, this answer is telling the interviewer that your ideas were either bad and rightly ignored, or that you were incapable of selling your ideas well. And no, neither of those things are good in an interview setting. Our response, and we have also looked at pitfalls to avoid when answering this question. Next, let's delve into selecting the most effective example to use in our answer. Think about the following points when you are coming up with stories from your experience to tell the interviewer. The first thing your answer should have is a positive outcome. Choose an example that can only be described as a success driven by you, and one which you can use to showcase the benefits of your actions. This is not to say you can't have taken lessons away from the venture, and it's always good to talk about how you would improve upon your actions in the future. But the underlying situation should be resolved successfully when you are outlining your answer. The second thing your example should be is relevant to the job you are applying for. Choose an example that is closely related to the job you're applying for. An example that is from the same industry or sector would be the most preferable. A good trick here would be to learn what upcoming work your new team has in the pipeline and use examples from your past that are relevant to that work. And finally, your example should represent a challenge. Look for examples where you faced a significant challenge or problem and were able to resolve it effectively. Put simply, you are trying to impress the interviewer. Make sure your example isn't some run of the mill situation that anyone could have fixed. Pick an example which shows that only you had the skills or know how to get the job done. Now, let's see the B star technique in action with an example. Again, the question being asked is, tell me about a time when you challenged the usual way of doing things. I'm a big believer in innovation and continuous improvement. I always look for opportunities to challenge the status quo with better efficiency and outcomes. At my last job as a software developer, our team was following an outdated development process, which was not only time consuming, but also less collaborative. This all came to a head during a major project where the existing workflow was causing delays and frustration among team members. Our process was heavily reliant on lengthy individual coding with minimal collaboration, leading to inefficiencies and frequent code integration issues. Recognizing this, I proposed a shift to an agile methodology with an emphasis on Scrum practices. As it turned out, my task was not limited to just suggesting this change, but was also to lead the implementation and guide my team through the transition. I organized a series of training sessions and workshops for my team, demonstrating the benefits of agile practices such as increased collaboration, faster turnaround times, and continuous feedback. I also set up a pilot project to showcase the effectiveness of this new approach in a real world scenario. As a result of these actions, the team's productivity and morale significantly improved. We were able to complete the project 20% faster than similar past projects, and the code quality also improved, as reflected in the reduced number of post-deployment issues. The success of this initiative led to the adoption of agile methodologies across other teams, fundamentally changing how we approach software development in the company. This experience taught me the value of challenging existing methods and the impact of effective leadership in driving positive change. Alright then, that wraps up our analysis of this interview question. I hope by watching this video you'll be more prepared for this question the next time you are asked. Speaking of being prepared, are there any interview questions that you struggle with every time you are asked, regardless of how well you prepare? Drop a comment below with the question that's been giving you a hard time, and we will dedicate our very next video to breaking it down and giving you the strategies to tackle it with confidence. Your input is invaluable, and together we can make your next interview your best one yet. And as always, if you like our videos, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, keep practicing, stay positive. Your dream job is just around the corner. Take care.